The mission of the Ministry of Agriculture and Lands is to advance the development of a modern and efficient agricultural sector which promotes food security. The long-term vision is for a dynamic transformation of the agricultural landscape by the year 2020 through tactical objectives that will increase and sustain the contribution of the sector to economic growth and development. In fueling the process of change, the Agriculture Ministry has been encouraging the adoption and modification of suitable technologies by the farming community. Protective cultivation involving the use of greenhouses and hydroponics is among a list of priority areas being promoted in the Agricultural Development Strategy set in 2005.
If you are somebody who can access funding, it is very reliable, it can be computer driven, and everybody wants to go into computer these days. This will be somewhere to go to carry our agriculture to another level of a high-end technology.
Greenhouse cultivation is a system of growing crops in buildings where the climate surrounding the plant body is partially or fully controlled. These houses are generally covered by transparent or translucent materials such as glass or plastic. A method of ever-increasing importance, hydroponics involves growing plants, especially vegetables, in water containing essential mineral elements rather than soil.
Some crops lend themselves very readily to hydroponics production, but indeed we would want to use the high-end or the exotic crops, romaine lettuces, high-yielding tomato varieties. Well, I said we are doing peppers right now. Strawberries can be done under here.
A wide-scale use of the state-of-the-art farming techniques by local farmers could revolutionize crop cultivation in Jamaica. Such farming methods are increasingly being used in many parts of the world to overcome limitations to traditional agriculture in areas of inadequate water, poor soils, excessive heat, and for pest and disease control. With the use of these technologies, high-quality crops and planting materials can be produced throughout the entire year.
The most important thing in farming is reliability to the customer. So you can say to the customer, I will be there, and you are there. And so hydroponic farming lends itself to just that. If it rains, it doesn't matter. If there's a drought, it doesn't matter. And you can guarantee the product consistently.
New hybrid hot pepper cultivars, developed by the Ministry of Agriculture's Research and Development Division, are among the high-value crops now grown under greenhouse conditions using hydroponics. A tour organized by the Ministry of the facility in the hills of Manchester, where research work is ongoing, revealed the remarkable potential in this area of farming. On this particular project, the Ministry has partnered with Shalom Hudura of Jamaica Drip Irrigation Limited, a service provider in Rose Hill, Manchester. Mr. Hudura has provided free use of the greenhouse and hydroponics equipment to the Ministry's research team to carry out performance evaluations of indigenous hot pepper cultivars.
This particular line is the result of crossing Scotch bonnet pepper along with a Peruvian pepper. And the reason for that was the Scotch bonnet pepper is susceptible to viruses in the field. The Peruvian variety which we introduced is resistant to that viruses. So having crossed those two varieties, we now have a line which is resistant to the viruses. So this line can actually be grown in the field without the necessity for applying pesticides to control the aphids which transmit the virus.
The hope is to generate up-to-date, practical and location-specific information for greenhouse production of this line of pepper with various growing systems and soil-less media. The information gathered will give some guidance to farmers who wish to adopt this technology. The approach seeks to provide a variety of methods with varying costs, thereby giving farmers a choice as to what they can afford.
We hope that at the end of the project we would have worked all the quirks out and be able to provide a manual for farmers to avail themselves and be able to use that manual to generate wealth. You can modify the technology to suit your conditions as well, because you don't have to go to the very high end sometimes. Sometimes all you need is a roof over the particular crop you're growing to prevent the elements of rain from coming onto your plants. If you want to go to a bit higher, where you want to put in virus-proof meshing or trips meshing, then your cost goes up. So you have to adapt yourself.
Examination of the hot peppers being cultivated revealed that the usual high scent and flavor still occur under greenhouse conditions as they would when pepper is grown out in the field. The new development offers more options to pepper farmers. Pepper exporters could benefit greatly from greenhouse conditions and hydroponics, as the system is conceived as pest-free. Hence, peppers produced under such conditions could be marketed overseas without the need for fumigation. With fumigation, the product loses shelf life and the appearance becomes less attractive. The system would boost exports of fresh Scotch bonnet pepper to the United States, which fell significantly following the mandatory fumigation requirement. Escalating demand for fresh produce locally and in the international market is reason enough to employ more economically feasible farming techniques in order to supply the market and increase earnings.
We have been approached from countries outside of Jamaica, Costa Rica, Dominican Republic, and other countries to purchase Scotch bonnet seeds. Clearly, that would indicate to me that there is somebody who wants to plant pepper to supply a particular market. And indeed, we have had requests or inquiries for peppers to go to as far as the Netherlands and so on. I think there's a tremendous market for Scotch bonnet pepper. We have a hotel sector, a tourism sector, and that sector requires produce consistently high quality and a constant and reliable supply. The hotel sector buys a lot of produce from the Jamaican farmer. However, that supply is always handicapped by irregularity of supply. This system lends itself to provide a throughput which the hotel demands, and also the quality which speaks for itself.
With an allocation of $10 million, which is part of the government's $200 million agricultural development program, a number of the farmers have become involved in hydroponics and greenhouse production. Farmers who lost their establishments due to Hurricane Ivan also received assistance in rebuilding their infrastructure in more secure ways. The aim is to significantly increase production of high-value crops that can successfully compete in the marketplace.